Hi, my name is Jason with AlarmSystemStore.com, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the differences between the various kinds of PowerSeries NEO keypads. So we get a lot of questions from people about what those part numbers actually mean. You know, it's a whole bunch of letters jumbled together to a lot of people. So I'm just going to break that down, make it easy to understand. As always, if you want to subscribe to our channel, we release new videos all the time, going over lots of different topics. So let's just get started by going over the three main styles of NEO keypads. The first is the icon keypads, which you can tell by the ICN in the part number. Icon keypads are a fixed display keypad, and a lot of what they tell you is done through different icons on the keypad. For instance, if you arm the system in stay mode, there will be a picture of a house with a person inside of it. In away mode, it'll just be the house without the person. You can't do any custom zone labels. Programming on it's very difficult just because you can't see what you're doing. You can't check your work for the vast majority of the programming. Various things like that. So it's a fixed display. It'll show you various numbers, various icons, and is all fixed. But it looks similar to the next style, which is the LCD, which is easy to remember because it'll have LCD in the part name. Now the LCD keypads are a full message alpha-numeric keypad. So you can do custom zone labels. When you go into programming, you're going to see a lot more information in there. It'll show the full time and date. You can check the event buffer. It's a full message display keypad, so you get a lot more information on it. But again, it looks just like, you know, from a distance, looks just like an icon keypad. The third style is the touchscreen keypads, which will have a TCH in the part number. Now currently there's only one model for that, so it'll be easy to remember, and it's easy to figure out kind of the differences with that. Its main difference is that it has that graphical user interface with the touchscreen. It looks really nice on the wall, but for the most part it's not really adding any new features to your system. Just a little better user experience and a lot better aesthetics on your wall. So let's go ahead and go to the table, and I'll give you practical examples of the keypads side by side for the various differences. Here's what the keypads will look like. So I got one of each of the three styles here. So this is a icon keypad. This is the HS2 ICN. This is the LCD style keypad. It's the HS2 LCD RF9. And then this is the touchscreen keypad. There's only one model, the HS2 TCHP. So one thing to note, I did turn off all the chime noises so that the keypads aren't beeping and making all sorts of noises while I'm talking, but they would all basically sound the same, at least for these three models. So the first thing I'm going to show you is what programming looks like. So I'm going to start with the kind of the mid-level base model here, the LCD style. So we'll do *8, and so you can see when you push buttons here, I'll go slower here, it shows press star for zone bypass. You can scroll and see various things. So this is the star menu, as they call it. But the hotkey for programming is 8, so we'll do *8, and it says enter your installer code. And after you enter that, it goes into programming. You can see the red lock lit up here, and then it says select a 3-digit section number, and then actually what that section is. So we can scroll through here, and it'll say various things: zone definition, zone attributes, etc. You can type in whatever section you want to go to. So for instance, let's go to 201. So this is the partition 1 zone mask. And so you can see then there's subsections, zone masks 1 through 8, etc. You can go in there, and then there's toggle options. And it kind of tells you what you're doing, whether it's on or off. So it's pretty nice. It's an upgrade over the previous generation, the older PowerSeries, that it does show all this different stuff. They've made some changes here and there to the programming sections as well to kind of combine stuff and make it a little bit nicer to use. So let's go ahead and get out of programming on this keypad, and we'll go down to the icon keypad and show the same thing. So we'll do star. You can see when I hit star, screen just goes blank. Then we'll hit 8, and then this icon shows up here, which means various things depending on what you're doing. We'll enter the installer code, and then that icon starts flashing, and we get the red lock. So we don't get what section's there, we don't get the label. So let's do the same thing. Let's go to 201. And now the only change we see is this lock symbol flashing. So let's go ahead and go to 001. So now we did get a little bit more change here. So the green check showed up. And so basically the lock flashing and the green check, that just kind of tells you how deep into programming you are, how many levels. And then you can see we have zones 1, 2, 3 on. So 001 is in 201 is the zone mask for zones 1 through 8. So this is zone 1, 2, 3 turned on. So we could, and that's actually nicer than some of the sections because it does give you at least the toggle options. Some sections you don't even get that. And so it makes it very difficult to check your programming. It makes it very difficult to know where you're at. If you accidentally hit a wrong button, you can change things and have no idea what you changed. So programming can be done on these icon keypads, especially if you know what you're doing. But it's not ideal, even if you know what you're doing. I know there's been a few times where I've tried doing programming on it, and I did fine, but you know, when I'm programming in zone definitions, for instance, I have no idea. Maybe I accidentally hit the wrong button somewhere and I'm off by a digit. Who knows? So now the touchscreen is a very different keypad compared to these two. So you can still do the programming on it, but it's a little bit different process. So obviously I don't have a number pad here to push star 8, so I do have this options button on the side here. We'll hit that. And then it comes up with a menu here. Installer menu is one of those, so we're going to go there. And then it starts looking more like what you'll see on the LCD keypad. You have a virtual keypad here, so we'll enter the code. And now to do your regular programming, you're going to go to keypad mode. And then there's keypad program, label programming, and those are a little bit different. We'll just go to keypad mode just to give a one-to-one kind of feel for how the different programming works. So you can see the display up here pretty much exactly matches what you saw on the LCD keypad. So if we go to 201, again, you'll see basically the same thing. You can scroll through when you go in. It looks exactly the same. So for the most part, programming from the touchscreen is going to be just like programming from the LCD keypad. Now there are a couple differences, and probably the biggest one that you'll run into is programming labels. One of the big advantages of the touchscreen for programming is the zone labels, custom labels. So if we go back in the installer menu here, you can see the label programming button. So when you go into there, you'll have various options here. The most common one you'll use is zones. So you can see we got front door program, we have zone 2, we have staircase. So let's say we wanted to change the zone 3 label to back door. It pulls up a keypad here, and you can actually, just like a regular keyboard, you can just type in what you want the label to be, and then hit save. and so you can see it's changed. So it's really nice for programming in labels, much faster than what you'll get with these other keypads. Well, with the icon keypad, you can't program in labels first. I mean, it won't show any of the labels, can't program them in. LCD keypad, you have to use the alpha-numeric entry, so key 1 is A, B, C, and 1, key 2 is D, E, F, etc. And then there's a word library as well that you can use. So now that we have shown some of the programming and how they differ, next thing I want to look at is open zones. Now I've opened up a couple of the zones on the system here so you can kind of see what each keypad shows when there's an open zone and the system's not ready to arm. So again, starting on the LCD keypad, it's scrolling through some things. You can see secure system before arming, and then you can actually push the arrow keys to scroll and see what zones are open, as well as viewing other information. On the icon keypad, you'll see the open door icon, and then it's going to flash some numbers. So each number that shows up for about a second is an open zone. So you see 1 and then 2, and then it goes blank and starts over. On the touchscreen keypad, you're going to actually touch zone status, and you can see up here that it shows not ready to arm. Only way you can tell on this keypad that it's not ready to arm is there's no green check. So let's go ahead and hit zone status here. Now you can see there's two different symbols we have here. So zone 1 and 2 are open zones, and there's an open door. Kind of matches the symbol on the icon keypad. And then there's checks for the zones that are closed, and you can scroll through to view all of your zones if you have more than 4 zones. So obviously checking open zones on any of the system is fairly easy. The icon keypad, you're not going to get any of your zone labels, so you have to either have a list handy or just remember what zones correspond to what numbers. On your LCD keypad, it scrolls through just like with the icon, but it does show zone labels, so you can see front door zone 2, and of course the touchscreen. It's a nice graphic interface, very intuitive to use. So next thing you can see is we have the yellow triangle lit up on each of the keypads. Now, of course, on the touchscreen, it's not actually a yellow triangle lit up, but it's the yellow light right below the triangle. So to check system troubles with our LCD keypad here, you can just push *2, or you can scroll over until it says system trouble. So when you push *2, it's going to give you some information here. So service required, and then press *. So battery trouble, module tampers. So we have quite a few troubles here. Let's just go to the first one, service required. We'll hit *, and that's going to show bell circuit, and we can scroll through and it just says press pound to exit. So the only service required is bell circuit. We can push pound and go to the next one, and basically no battery in the system area is our trouble there. I don't have a backup battery connected to the system, and you can just go down the list to resolve any system troubles you have, and it's fairly intuitive what each of those means. Let's exit out of there. Now if we go to the icon keypad, you go check the troubles the same way by pushing *2, but now it's just going to flash some numbers. So we got 1, 2, 10, and 11. So we can kind of scroll through to figure out what each one is. And then you can enter a 2-digit number to see what the next code is below that. So I push 01 and it shows just a 1 flashing. I push pound and it starts scrolling through again. So then if I hit 02 to check the second system trouble, now it's going to show the number 2, which corresponds to another code. So with this, you can check the system troubles, and really it's not too hard, but obviously you're going to need a guide to decode what these numbers means, which you can find in the full system manual. With the touchscreen keypad here, you're just going to hit the troubles icon on the right. And then you can see the various troubles right there. And if you can find out more information, you just tap on that. Service required on the bell circuit. We go back, we go to the battery trouble. No battery on the system. So it's pretty easy, self-explanatory. Even easier than on our LCD, but it gives about the same information. Next thing I want to show is the differences in programming access codes. So again, we'll start on the LCD keypad here. So we'll do *5 to get into the access codes, and it gives you prompts, so we have to enter a master code. So we go ahead and do that, and then if it's programmed, so user 1 has a P, so that means it's programmed. User 2 has a dash, that means it's not programmed. So you can scroll through and view which are programmed, which are not. And then to go into user 2, you just hit star, and then again there's different options to program the access code. Hit star on access code, and we'll just type in 4321. You can see the access code there. If you weren't sure what you programmed on an access code, you could just hit star on that and see what you programmed, make any changes as necessary. And once we go back, of course, you can see the P for user 2 means program. It's pretty intuitive, not too difficult. The icon keypad, very similar process. So we do *5, and then you just need to know that you need to enter your master code. And then it's going to show you which user codes are programmed, much like an open zone. So you can see the P, and then it shows 1, and then 2, and then goes blank. So it's just going to scroll through which user codes are programmed. To enter a new user code, you're going to type in a 2-digit user number, so 03 we'll go to. And then to actually enter a new access code, you have to hit 1. And then once you're here, you'll now enter the 4-digit access code. So we'll do 6789. So then we can hit pound. And now you see the P, and then 1, 2, and 3 show up. And so we'll hit pound to exit there. So again, it can be done. It's not really that difficult. You just need to know which buttons to press. You're not going to get any help from the keypad, or minimal help from the keypad. So for our touchscreen keypad, we're going to hit options, and then access codes. And it's going to say present tag or enter code. So we'll enter the code 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can see the check mark shows that it's programmed, and an X shows it's not programmed. So you scroll through to the code you want to program, or change the options for, and then you hit select. And then you get the full menu here of the different things you can do. So we're just going to set an access code, and you just type it in. So we'll do 9876, access code set. You can change anything else you want at this point, or go back, and now you can see the check mark there. And then you can hit back until you're out of there. Now, one of the big features that you'll get on some keypads but not others is the event buffer. So to do the event buffer on the LCD keypad, you do *6, your access code, and then when it says event buffer, you just hit star. So this will allow you to check to see what happened on the system at any given time. So you can scroll through, and as you scroll to the right, it goes back in time. And there's a bunch of events that'll be in here. So if you ever have somebody arm the system and not sure who did it, you know what time it happened or about the time frame, you can scroll to that time frame and find who armed the system, what user code, things like that. And it's very useful a lot of times for troubleshooting if you're having an issue with a zone but you never can figure out what zone it is. The event buffer is a good place to start. It'll show you a lot of information. Now on the icon keypad, you cannot get to the event buffer. So, I mean, obviously the event buffer showed time and date and a lot of custom information that you would need a full message display to view. Icon keypad just does not have that. Again, on our touchscreen, if you go to options, you can go to user functions, and then from there you can go to the event buffer, and it's very similar, except it actually shows you all the information. So it shows the event number, the time and date, and then it actually shows you what the event is. Now on the LCD keypad, it'll show you all this information, but you have to push star on the event number to view what the event actually is. So again, it's another advantage of the touchscreen keypad. You can still do it on the LCD keypad. It's just not quite as convenient. The touchscreen with the user interface, with the graphic user interface, is much more convenient overall. And so finally, last thing I want to show is just the arming process, arming and disarming. Just to show you, it's no matter which keypad you have, it's going to be very similar. So we'll just use 1, 2, 3, 4 to do everything. So on this keypad, we'll just hit 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it shows on all the keypads, you get the red light for the lock, showing that it's arming. If I had the sound on, you'd hear the exit delay chime. Now this keypad just goes blank, but you do see the lock here. So if you can't hear it, you're not even sure if the exit delay is in progress. So another advantage of having one of these two keypads over this, but just typing in that code again simply disarms it. And we'll show one more time because the touchscreen is a little bit different process. So we'll do stay arm, exit delay in progress. To disarm, you just hit the disarm button, and that's going to disarm the system. Away arm, you're going to hit the button at the top. Let me show you that again. I kind of hit it before saying anything about it. So you see away arm is up here. So away arm, stay arm. Now, one thing to note with these systems, they do have an auto stay feature. So you do have to open and close an exit delay zone to arm the system in away mode. Now, there's no keypad, so you can't just type in the code to automatically arm on this keypad, unless you have a prox tag, which I'll go over later. It just has the stay arm and the away arm features. The other keypads also have those buttons, so you can see stay and away, stay and away. You just hold those down for a couple seconds, and then the exit delay is going to be progress. So I'm going to go ahead and let the system arm so you can see what it looks like when the system's armed on each keypad, and then I will go ahead and open an entry delay zone so you can see what happens when you're on the entry delay. Alright, so the system has now armed, and you can see on each keypad it shows a little bit different. So the LCD keypad, you just have the red lock. It doesn't really give you any other information. On our icon keypad, you just get the red lock, but you also get the symbol showing the empty house. If it's armed in stay mode, you'd actually have a person in there. And then on the touchscreen, of course, it says armed away. So let me go ahead and open a entry zone and we'll see what each keypad does. So you can see on our LCD keypad it shows entry is active. Disarm system, icon keypad, you don't really get much. And then the touchscreen, it's showing you entry delay in progress. So let's go ahead and disarm the system.
System disarmed.
And you could hear our other keypad that's off camera chiming in, which we'll go over that keypad a little bit more here in a little bit. So now that we've gone over the major differences between the different styles of keypads, let's kind of look at the rest of the part names and the different letters and numbers that you'll see there, what those mean. So from the beginning, for all the keypads, you're going to see HS2. That's just the standard for the keypads, as well as some other parts from the Neo line. So you can kind of ignore that. The next three letters you'll see will tell you what style of keypad it is. So we kind of already went over this. You'll see ICN for the icon, LCD for the full message display keypads, and then you'll see TCH for the touchscreen. After that, you'll either see nothing except for ENG, which just means English, or you may see some other letters in various combinations. So there's four different things that you might see at the end there. RF, which tells you that there is a PowerG transceiver built into the keypad. You'll see this on the icon and the LCD keypads. You won't see it on the touchscreen. But basically that's going to be your PowerG transceiver for the system as well as a keypad. So you don't need to add another receiver on there. And that will give you full access to the entire PowerG line. So wireless keypads, sirens, sensors, etc. Another thing you might see is WF. WF is a wireless keypad. So the only style you'll see this on is the LCD keypads. Those are the only wireless keypads currently for the Neo. And basically those are fully wireless using PowerG, unless you have the power transformer, of course. And then there's two more, P and V. So P stands for prox tag support. Prox tags or proximity tags are just kind of a keychain like thing you can hook to your belt loop, to an ID badge, to keychain, whatever. And it allows you just to hold it up to the keypad, and it's just like entering in your code without having to actually enter your code. Very convenient for various people, especially, maybe you have kids or older people that you don't really trust to remember their code, or if you're a business and you want to have an employee be able to arm and disarm the system, but you don't really want to give them out a code that they can easily tell to everybody they know, or you don't want to worry about them trying to remember it, things like that. And then the last one is V, which stands for voice. This one you'll only see on the wireless LCD keypads, and it will give you prompts as well as chimes using voice. It does have a limited vocabulary, so it's not going to be able to do a whole lot of custom labels that aren't in the word library already. But it'll tell you things to like give you reminders to enter your code, or if there's an alarm, it'll tell you what the zone is that went off. So there's a lot of different things there, and you'll see them in different combinations. So you might have HS2, which you can ignore, ICN, which is an icon keypad, RF. And so that means that that icon keypad has a PowerG transceiver built into it. Or you might see the HS2 LCD, which is the LCD keypad, full message display, WF, which is a wireless keypad, PV, which has prox tag support and voice prompting. And so you can kind of figure out, once you know what the letters mean, you can figure out what any keypad has on it pretty easily. And so you're not going to see every combination of every feature, but you'll see a wide variety, which is why there's so many keypads. But if you don't know what they mean, it does get kind of overwhelming. What does that part number mean versus this part number? So hopefully this video will help you out with that. So we're going to go back to the table, and I'm going to pull out the LCD WF-PV keypad. So this will give you pretty much every feature that you have minus the built-in Power G receiver. And I can give you examples of it, show you how the prox tags work, so you can see what the prox tag is, and you'll also be able to hear the voice on the keypad. So let's go ahead and go to the table and we'll finish up. As promised, this is the HS2 LCD WF PV9. So you can see it's the full message display as expected by the LCD keypad. A couple things you'll notice on this keypad. I don't know if you can see it well, but right here you kind of have a little target, and then right here you have some holes cut out in the plastic for your voice speaker. So let's go ahead and open that up and just give you some examples of the voice here first. So let's say I'm going to program in user codes using *5.
Present tag or enter code.
So you can see it says present tag or enter code, but then you also get the voice prompt. So there's various prompts like that. If you arm the system, which you'll hear here shortly, it'll give you some voice prompts. Go into programming, you get a prompt telling you to enter the installer code, things like that. And one of the neat features is the voice chime. So let me just open a zone here.
Front door open.
So as you heard, when you have that feature enabled, it does actually tell you the zone label instead of just having a generic beep or whatever. For more information on how to enable that and stuff, we do have another video. If it's not already out, it will be coming on how to do that. It's not a hard process, but you do need to enable it. By default, it's not. So the next thing I want to show is the prox tag. So here is the prox tag. Now these come in different colors. When you get a keypad with prox tag support, they do give you one, but you can buy them in packs of 8. They're not that expensive, and you get different colors, you know, if that matters to anyone. And this little target is where you want to hold up your prox tag. So you can see the system is ready to arm. So in that case, you can arm the system just by holding the prox tag up.
User arming in progress.
And you heard the voice prompt there. So I could let it arm if I want, exit the door, and of course if you use a prox tag, it's just going to automatically detect whether to do stay mode or away mode based on if you leave or not. So now let's say I was coming back in.
System disarmed.
Just hold that prox tag up again and it disarms. So again, this is a great feature for various reasons. It's definitely not necessary for most people, but it can be very useful. And as I said, this is the wireless keypad, and you might see this wire here. That's for a reason. This is actually, if I open the back here, that's your power wire. So this is for a power transformer. And it's very important if you want to use that voice chime feature to have a power transformer. Now, the batteries will last quite a while. You get about 2 years of use out of that under normal circumstances, solely off the batteries. So it's not a major deal if you don't have the power transformer. But if I don't have that power transformer, the keypad goes into kind of sleep mode to save battery life. And so if a door opens at that point and you have the chime, it's just going to give you a generic chime. It won't do the voice chime. So if you want to take advantage of that voice chime again, make sure you get the power transformer for the keypad. They're not expensive, and it's probably a good idea either way, just so you have that, you know, a little more peace of mind about batteries not running out and things like that. Alright guys, you should have all the information you need to decode the PowerSeries NEO keypad part numbers. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps us out, lets us know what you like, what you don't like. And of course, you can always visit us on the website, alarmsystemstore.com, for more resources like this, as well as if you want to order anything from us. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.